to stand with the people.
The champ is here.
I will not lose.
I'm a bad man. I shook up the world.
Yes, welcome. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. My name is Ejan. I got my man,
MH.
Yes, he is the DB of the show, and we are Black in Sports, giving a voice to the culture that won't shut up and dribble. And today, man, we're bringing you back inside the locker room, man. It's that annual time of year, man, and we are going to talk a little bit of Juneteenth, man. MH, you ready to do this?
Yes, sir.
All right, man, let's do it, man. So, early on, man, it's so funny, man. In our first season, when we were kind of doing locker rooms and just really testing out, like, what the locker room would be, really letting the people know who we were and just talking about the different thoughts and things like that. And we entered, I think we had a series called The Black Athlete, where we were doing just, very similar topics. And one of our topics was Juneteenth, man. So now it's like we're coming back around, that the annual holiday, that annual federal holiday, it is definitely changing kind of the outcomes of like maybe sports and just people in general. Just like a regular conversation I had when I was talking with someone, I was just like, oh, hey, what are you doing, on Juneteenth? And he's like, oh, I'm off that day. Oh, I can go do some different things, man. So yeah. Other than just kind of like, us and just people, I guess, adapting to the change, man, what changes or what things do you see different, or kind of how you want to tackle this Juneteenth part 2?
Yeah, I mean, I still, I think this is probably like a small taste of what our parents and grandparents and those that are before us, probably see or kind of experience as we grow through society, and some barriers are broken and things of that nature. I honestly, as a individual in his 30s, I can't truly, it is still kind of foreign that the nation as a whole celebrates Juneteenth. Not that it shouldn't have always been that way. I just remember growing up without knowing a whole lot of history about it. That's when the Black folk get together. I know my family celebrated it all the time. We used to go to the parades, but I don't know. It's still I guess foreign is a bad word, but it's just still it's real cool that it's a federal holiday now where it should always be. I guess that's my initial thoughts for it.
I like it. I think for me, the funny, I shouldn't say funny, and we use funny just as a lack of better term sometimes when we're on the show. So, you guys have been watching for a while, so you know where we come from. But anyway, I think it's just, the word for me is fitting, right? It's fitting that when we first talked about this, it was not a federal holiday.
Sure.
So was it season 1, season 2, whatever. But when we first talked about it was not a federal holiday. We had a different president in the House. And then 2 years later, from when we did it, it became a federal holiday. And it's like just kind of fitting of how Juneteenth worked, right? Like the slaves were free 2 years before, and right. Juneteenth is now celebrated because it took 2 years from when that proclamation was made to get down to the furthest Galveston, Texas, for it to be like, okay, we're now all finally free. So, kind of one of those serendipitous coincidence, just weird things when you look at like the history of the genesis of this. So I think that was just kind of something odd when I was like prepping for this show.
No, I mean, you bring up a very good point, and I guess fitting is a good word. Talk about the history of it, but really glad that the nation is finally doing what it's supposed to do, whether they got their hands pushed for it or not, and we're good. We're there now, so it's about time.
And it just, I think the thing that's catching up, I would say, is like what we're doing for, right? Like, so how are the masses celebrating, right? Like, so I know Vegas does a really great job. And one particular great friend of the show, and Jay, light-skinned Jay, as we like to call him, he is one of the members that really works to put on the Juneteenth festival that they usually do on the weekend. Either it's usually before the weekend before, like, because depending on what day the 19th falls on, and they do a great job of tying in the different sports clubs to be present down there, and music, fun, the history and all of that stuff. So you have that. So I think like if you're looking for things to do here in the Vegas area, always there's your free plug, Jay. Go check out the Juneteenth festivals, but they promote year-round scholarships and a lot of the good things that they're doing here in our community. But it's just like wondering and going around figuring out what's being done, right? Because you kind of talked about like the barbecue, right? Like I remember there was, a couple of Juneteenth things that was happening kind of when I was growing up, and definitely that's when your cross colors was in. So he's definitely pulling out your yellow, green, and black, right, and red. So, but it's just going to be interesting to see how people celebrate.
No, 100%. And I've had to work the last, I think, 3 years here locally. Obviously, Juneteenth that weekend, so I probably got to do some better scheduling on my end because I've always heard great things about the festival. So, we'll get there, but it is cool. And as a sports kind of fan and nut, it's also kind of fitting that we're recording this and it looks like it's the Celtics are going to win the NBA championship. And this past season, Bill Russell, all of the great things that he did for sports, he passed away, and it's fitting that they win a championship. And it would be remiss to not honor or mention Bill Russell, the historian he's been in sports, and particularly the NBA on this occasion. So fitting, I guess, is another way to describe it again.
Fitting is going to be the buzzword for today's show, I guess. Other than that, sports, how kind of sports is adapting to it, right? Like, do you play? Don't you play? How do you honor it? So it's going to be interesting to see, how the W shows up, because just all through, back when Juneteenth was coming back to the forefront, during a lot of the social justice things that were happening, the ladies always, stand up, and they shock the world and do notable things that keeps us present. So it's going to be interesting to see like how that's celebrated and what moves and what things that they coincide.
Yeah, they ought to retire my lady's number, Maya Moore, because she stopped playing completely. So to address issues socially, amongst other things. And she was, I think of all the conversation about the W now, which is warranted. I always kind of think like, dang, man, I wish Maya Moore was still hooping. So fitting again.
Hey, she was looking for love, boy. I tell you that, boy.
Amongst other things, yes.
No, but that's one of her biggest things, right? Just being advocate. And I mean, even Candace, right? Like she was one of the ones that was not only moving the game forward, but did the things off the court, that celebrated, and also making lanes, even what she did, with the Inside the Edition guys. So it's going to be fitting how sports kind of change those things. So if you go back though, and we'll probably need to put a link to something like this, but go back to the first show, because this show is not really about the history. We did that the first episode, and I was going back and I was listening to it. The funniest thing, because we pulled, just to give you a snippet to kind of hype that episode, so you go back and listen. We talked about some of the things that happened on June 19th in the history of sports. And I think, I don't know which ones you thought were the funniest, which one you remember, but the Carl Lewis thing was the funniest thing. And I'm just going to say that because we want you to go back and listen to that episode. But the fun fact about Carl Lewis on June 19th in sports was amazing. And then we were doing so good, but we have to, this is a show for entertainment, right? We want to bring you guys the information, but we have a little fun with it. And we were doing so good until MH had to bring up one incident about Carl.
What refresh my memory on that?
Oh, come on, man. Like, because Carl is an amazing athlete, but when he sung the national anthem. But anyway, so definitely go back and check out that episode.
He's an amazing athlete. I'm in a new season in my life, a new era of not disrespecting legends, or at least trying not to. But you got to stay in your lane sometimes. So I'll stay in my lane now, and he's a man of many talents. I'll put it that way. Fitting.
No, the national anthem is not one of them. I'm sorry. Anyway, other historical fun facts. Please go check out that episode, season 1, the history of June 19th. And a lot of stuff's going on this month. It is Pride Month, so that's a thing that kind of is fitting, right? When you're talking about representation, social justice, and things that go on. So, I know the ACEs and just a lot of people or corporate companies start putting up the flags with the rainbow colors in there to support all. And I think either it was something I didn't notice before or it was recently added, but the fact that black and brown were added to the rainbow, that people kind of create, I think that was dope. And I'm trying to think when it was a baseball team actually that had it on their logo was when I first noticed it. And then just now seeing that they're putting, that representation, because a lot of, black, lesbian, and trans gender men, are facing a lot of, kind of strife and attacks, more than, not more than I don't want to kind of speak on because that's definitely out of my lane. But I just think that was kind of dope. And then, you got Father's Day. We definitely, so happy Father's Day to you again. I definitely wish you offline, but to all the fathers that listen, we kind of reposted that show. We definitely want to get around to maybe doing something for the fathers, but, I think it was more, it was better. It was fitting for us to just kind of enjoy and sit back and let the fathers enjoy their day. You want to share what you did on your day? Because while I was prepping for it, we were going to do that live show for that. You want to share how your Father's Day went, Mr. Girl Dad?
Yeah, I mean, it went really well. It went fast, but well. I think one thing that I picked up from my father was he always gifted us with something. And now that my daughter is getting a little older, she kind of understands some things. I was able to gift her, I don't know, just something simple like some Barbie things, but I do think it's cool because to be able to pass that tradition on down to her, and she made me a father. Honestly, I wouldn't be a father without her, and I think to see her happy for whatever little doll that she could pick up at Walmart. I think that's the whole meaning of Father's Day, and shout out to all the fathers and men out there in general. I think I'm going to take the time right now. I think it's in some cases we can be overlooked in some ways because it is duty, and that's not just fathers. That's just men in general. We carry a duty, and sometimes. Not sometimes, most of the time, it's a very unselfish act. And being man in this world, period. It's I think the prime example of it, and I'm not trying to raise an offering of it, is Christ, and Christ had to pick up his cross and get beaten and mocked and everything of that nature, just to get to the spot where he's going to die. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's just so fitting to man that every day we got to pick up our cross and, go through life in some ways and hear things and, all just to die to ourselves and be unselfish to pick it up the next day in some way. So I get on that tangent all the time. And I just want to say shout out to us men. And I mean no disrespect by that to any of our women, our ladies. You're the backbone of the world, right? Nobody's here without women. But and sometimes I do want to shout out men because sometimes it could be a heavy crown, and we don't give each other enough love sometimes. So shout out to you, EJ. Shout out to all the men out there. I wouldn't let this month go by without saying that on this platform that we've created. That hey, we see you, we here, keep rocking, keep your head up. It's an unselfish job, but we built for it. Yeah, thank you. Sorry to get off on a tangent on that. I'm getting all emotional about it, man.
Well.
Yeah. Man, I get emotional about that. I do.
And I mean, that's part of the genesis of becoming a father too, right? Like you're tapping into some definite different emotions that, the fact before you did. And I did go back to listen to that Father's Day episode, and I, kind of implore you all as well. But I think that is a very dope tradition that your pops always love with pops. Pops is always dropping us dimes as we kind of get older, man. And, maybe we don't see right immediately, but they definitely come to pass. But
Sure.
Pops kind of instilling that in you, that you're passing that down to your daughter, is just amazing. I think it's something that, I definitely want to do because it changes the dynamic, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are in a it's a it's a class level, right? So it's definitely mom, mom,
For sure.
hey dad, where's mom? Right?
Sure.
In that
Sure.
sense. And we all carry, the mothers carry, the things that they do, but it's great to celebrate the dad. So and celebrate those that dads weren't here. I stay off of social media around those times, just so I don't get too bah humbug. But
Right.
the people without their fathers, right? And you can still attempt to honor the fathers that are in your circle by thanking them and reaching out to them, but keeping your memories and things that your father done for you. So I think that's definitely shout out to I want to echo your sentiments and shout out to all fathers and dads, the ones that are with us and the ones that have passed away.
For sure.
All right, man. You got anything else for us on this Juneteenth, episode, other than just kind of bringing it up, highlighting? And it's just, like I said, for the biggest thing for me is just watching to see the change. We haven't done a Juneteenth episode more because it doesn't fall on, this one falls on when, we're usually recording and dropping our episodes. And, it's just good to give it time. So it's going to be good to revisit this in a year or so and just see how the leagues, and, we're doing it from a sports aspect, of course, but it's going to be interesting to see, if it's just more than a day off, and then how these leagues embrace it. And, it's not many leagues going on right now,
Right.
but just, you can still have a voice, even though you're not on the court or on the field or things like that. So be interesting to see.
No, I'm definitely interested in that as we move forward, and hopefully everybody can celebrate the way you want to celebrate, and I guess enjoy time. But no, shout out to all those that are before us. We wouldn't be on this platform, talking about Black in sports in general, if it was for those that made sacrifices before us to get to this point. So.
Absolutely. Well, hey, that's another episode. We would love to hear in the comments or post, or just kind of more details of how you celebrate. If this is going to be your first Juneteenth, we want to hear that stuff from the different audience. Because maybe something you share is just an idea that others can kind of follow. So don't be shy to share that. And then, as always, we drop new episodes every Thursday. So thank you for listening. Share this one. Go back and listen to that Juneteenth podcast. I think we're going to do a snippet and put a little bit of that out on the platform just so it's easy for you to click. But follow, share, like. We need all of that stuff wherever you listen to podcasts. But it's the same thing, man. Please stay safe, practice gratitude, and know we're rooting for you.
Screaming, all us blacks got is sports and entertainment until we even.
Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Yeah. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yo. Look. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade new rags. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to college class to rap.